Hello, it's worth mentioning that a lot has happened since we started Rhubarb Shed. And as you know, I've been quite inspired by my dad and his antiques, namely George BSA. One of the fellas who inspired my dad was a chap called ARCHIE Beggs, and he was racing vintage bikes back in the 50s. Some of these bikes were from the 20s and 30s, but he was quite prolific. He was on every program from sand racing to road racing, sidecars, solos, and he's an extraordinary engineer, a chap by the name of ARCHIE Beggs. And in this episode, I'd like to bring to you an interview with him that I did recently. And he's a venerable old gentleman, aged 96, and he's still going strong. It's a joy to behold and an inspiration to us all. So with that in mind, this episode is going to be very much about talking to Archie and showing him my efforts in vintage motorcycle sprint racing, which I think he enjoyed. I'm talking about his history, the history of my dad and his bike. You know, we've got a lot to talk about, and in the next episode I'm going to just review the first year of Rhubarb Shed and bring you some unseen footage, and so I hope you'll stick with me for that. Let's get on with it, shall we? Hello Archie, how are you today?
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm here to ask you a few questions about, Rivica, Ridimewin, the time you spent with me dad, but I think I should just tell the viewers who you are. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And ask you a few questions from the early part of your life, if that's not too intrusive. Okay, hello everyone. We're here with Archie Beggs, a famous character from round these parts, a motorcyclist and engineer of quite high renown.
Motorcyclist by accident.
A motorcyclist by accident?
Yeah.
How on earth did you become a motorcyclist by accident?
After the war, the government kept national service on.
Right.
And I didn't want to go playing at soldiers.
No, I don't blame you.
So I went to the coal mines.
Okay.
Sutton Manor, near St Helens.
Yeah.
And I push biked it there every day.
From here?
Yeah.
Blimey.
And the wind was always against you. And it was about 18 miles.
Bells, bells.
The family were always against motorcycles.
Yes.
Because couldn't risk it. Got one for his 21st and probably killed himself on it.
Oh no.
So I was never allowed to have motorbikes. Must keep off them.
Yes.
But after push biking it, I thought, I'll get a bloody motorbike.
It's a good solution, isn't it?
And I got a 1929 Francis Barnett.
Okay.
Two-stroke.
Little two-stroke.
It was basically a good bike, but it was knackered, but I didn't know.
Right.
And a friend of mine who was a wagon driver, he taught me to ride a bike after a shift. Well, when I was competent, he said, right, you can take it to Sutton Manor. I started off one day, and I got no further than the next road. I pumped the tyres up, but I didn't know to spit on them. The valves were leaking.
Yes, yes.
I started the next day. One exhaust pipe fell off and plugged the plug lead up. So on the Friday, I was on afternoons. Started off, and he had traffic lights in the tunnel at the branch.
You only had the Birkenhead tunnel then, didn't
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
And the clutch wouldn't lift. And I stalled it. And every time I put it in gear, it stalled. And a bloke came out to the side and he said, when it starts, get on it and push you, and you put it in gear.
Yeah, bump start.
So I did that. And then the next thing, it tightened up. And he said, oh, an oil system of failures. When I stopped, the oil was on my boot. The oil pipe
Really?
broke. So I managed to tip some oil into the petrol. Got to colliery, went down pit, came up the end of my shift, be about 10:30 at night. I should have known better, but I didn't. I got some oil and poured it in the petrol tank.
Right.
And the bike wouldn't start. Changed the plug, and the bike wouldn't start. Did all I could. No, it won't go. Started to push it, and a bloke on a push bike came behind me. And he said, where are you from? I said, number 1 pit. Oh, he said, I'm number 2. I've got a motorbike. What's up? Oh, I said, it won't go. I'm pushing it. He said, how far you got to go? I said, only Liverpool. Well, he said, let's have a try. And I said to myself, I'll never put my leg over a motorbike again. And I had it up, started it up. We pushed it 100 yards, and it started.
Right, okay, good.
And I got as far. I remember stopping on the dock road, Birkenhead, because it tightened up. Both exhaust pipes were glowing red hot because the mag had retarded itself.
Yes.
Got home at 1 o'clock. An old Tom who told me to ride said, I knew you'd be all right.
After the fashion.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So I kept on motorcycling.
Great, well I'm glad you did. I'm really glad you did. You were 18 years old. When were you born?
1928.
1928.
Yeah.
Wow. So that was between the wars. That's a good year, isn't it?
21st, 28.
21st of the 11th. Okay. So now we know when your birthday is, we'll know how to celebrate it, won't we? I think the Flying Scotsman started its service in 1928. So that's 2 great things that happened in 1928. Yeah. Archie Beggs was born. The Flying Scotsman started running. What was the next bike?
A Douglas.
Oh, right.
Sidewell Douglas.
That was a 500, was it?
That was the next step up from the Barnet.
Was that a bit more reliable?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
And did you start teaching yourself engineering then? Or, you know, did somebody come along and offer you an apprenticeship, or what happened? Old
Tom Ainscoe would be the phone wagon steam driver.
That's this guy, isn't it?
He was mechanical, yeah. So you got no tools in them days.
No. Yeah. Well, you've been very resourceful down the years. I know that for a fact.
I came into competition by the local section of the Vintage Clubman, press ganged at all 20 Queensferry Sprint, and I borrowed a Scott.
Okay.
Which should have been a hand change, but someone had converted it to foot change. But there's no positive stop, so you couldn't get middle gear.
Right.
It didn't do too bad. And after the Scott, I wanted a Sunbeam.
Yeah.
I saw this Model 90, the Grimsby. So I bought that.
Where did you see it? Was it being raced in the Isle of Man, or, you know, somebody ridden past you on it, or?
Well, a chap called Jack Flewitt in Birkenhead had a Sunbeam.
Yeah.
Everybody said Sunbeam was something special.
Yeah.
So I wanted one. I didn't know what I was buying. I saved up for it just by luck and picked what is arguably the best model he ever made, which was 1928 TT90.
Right.
It went very well, very fast.
Is this the same bike that you still own?
Well, I've only recently sold it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. But you've had it all your life?
Yeah.
I've seen you on that bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one I raced on the sands.
Wow.
I raced it solo. I hit the gully and went in a wobble and dislocated my shoulder.
Hell's bells.
And I was using a sidecar as well. So we had to go with sidecar.
Yeah.
You can see the picture in here.
Yeah.
So it took me, my sister as passenger in that.
Yeah, that's Kitty.
And we were on third place, 7 and 6.
Excellent. How much did you pay
She
for the bike?
grabbed it because the bolts in the sidecar put a hole in the tracks.
Oh no. Oh no.
And she was a grand passenger.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she looks like she's got the right sense of humour for it.
I'd seen Len Turner in the Douglas. And when one of them came up, I bought it.
Right.
And sidecar raced it. And solo raced it.
Yeah.
In the 350 class, used a bellow.
Right.
And in the 500 class, used a rudge.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
I just competed for fun.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I wasn't worried about winning. I'm not blowing the bloody motor up the 2 deer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, you knew how to fix them by this time, didn't you? You could rebuild an engine.
Yeah.
And,
But I had to learn.
yes,
Yeah.
you do have to learn, don't you?
Yeah.
Racing. I must admit, I've caught the bug for racing these classic bikes myself. You know, I took the BSA up Prescott Hill.
Yeah.
I think I showed you the footage last time I spoke to you.
And where's that?
That's Prescott Hill in Gloucestershire. Green light. Last one, I missed the gear there.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that, nearly stopped.
So you're going to do more of it?
I am. I've certainly caught the bug. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah.
It's great fun, isn't it? It's absolutely great fun having a, you know, like a single cylinder engine popping away underneath you.
Yeah.
It's just a lovely feeling, isn't it? So, when was the last time you rode the bike?
Just before COVID.
Just before COVID. And were you happy? Were you happy on it?
Yeah.
Go on, tell us the story. You were heading towards the corner.
Yeah.
Clutch wouldn't lift. What did you do? Did you go through the pool to slow yourself down?
Well, when the clutch wouldn't lift, we just went straight through the pool of water, spray everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was all right. It was only Kitty. She had to empty her wellies. But she never grumbled.
No. I mean, look at that. She's laughing her head off, isn't she?
Yeah.
It's fantastic. When did you first meet my dad?
That would be easy.
When he was riding along at Riddymewin.
I never raced against him.
The one thing that did happen to him was he had an accident and he injured his heel.
Yeah.
Do you remember at Riddymewin, he put his right heel across the bike?
Yeah.
And it must have gone through the grating, if you like.
Yeah.
And the spokes took his heel off, didn't they?
I was there that day.
You were there that day.
Yeah.
It must have been horrific.
Yeah.
But apparently, as the story goes in our family, George didn't know my dad was hanging off the back of the bike, and everybody was shouting to him to stop the bike, and all he could think was, oh, they're loving this. So he gave it some more, didn't he? And my dad's overalls, well, his leathers that my mother had made him, were underneath his back, and they were actually smoking on fire.
Yeah.
Because he was going down the straight with his foot lodged in the side wheel. Do you remember anything about meeting my dad on any other occasion before that?
Only when it came with magnetos, that was all.
Yeah.
Because I didn't charge anyone.
No, I know.
So everyone came.
Well, even I've been to you for help, haven't I? You cut some valve seats for me once, and you wouldn't take any money off me. You know, I bet you've got lots of friends who need engineering doing.
Yeah.
Well, Archie, it's been amazing talking to you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, and lovely cup of tea too.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing me your workshop, and thank you for the rhubarb.
Yeah.
It's great. We'll sign off here, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.